Welcome, my friends. This is Mann Incorporated, and if it wasn't for the fact that it's about 3:30 in the day, I would be drinking heavily now to emulate the mental and physical and emotional state of the High King of Ireland, Flann Sinna. In the last episode, he finished his raids into England, down in this direction, to get some money, and I spoke about the fact that we might consider raiding or attacking or conquering the Isle of Mann, kicking a man while he's down. I think Flann Sinna wants a victory, and I think he wants to emulate Ruachaun's attempts to take the Isle of Mann. Ruachaun had declared a war for there before a civil war broke out, and I think he would try to emulate that and to outdo his master. Now, we put together a good chunk of money in the last episode. I think it's more money than we've ever had before. And like I said, we're going to keep all of that money for mercenaries. We're going to keep all of that. We're going to keep all of that money for mercenaries. Oh no, what did I do? I didn't mean to do that. Green Grafador and Flann Sinna I held great gatherings and meetings and feasts to celebrate great achievements. Flann Sinna II, I think, holds feasts the way he doesn't have to drink alone. Welcome, friends. Friends that I may or may not be paranoid about. I've made a couple of changes to what my councillors are doing. I've made one change. Cuchurca is now training knights instead of restoring control, because some of the places the control is so bad, it's not going to be coming up for an extensive period of time. So I'm going to put him training knights because there's a lot of poorly trained knights who have just come up into the ranks, so we need to improve that a bit. Here is a pop-up about Christina, the spy master of our lover Astrid, who we're trying to seduce purely because she supported our attempts to kill Astrid's husband, who got his head ripped off anyway, so it didn't make much of a difference. The pleading gaze I receive from my acquaintance Christina is taking on a desperate tone. A group of guests are approaching the corner she has hid in all evening, and the walls are hindering her escape. To think a unlanded would act in such a way. So we have two options, and of course, because we are trying to impress Christina and seduce her, we will go with the one that increases her opinion of us, and we gain a weak hook. Here's our poor wife Enid, who discovered that we have been cheating on her with her stepsister after we accused her of cheating on us. We've cheated on her with her stepsister and had 3 children. But we are very glad of the help that she has given in organising tonight's feast, and we let her know that she's done a great job. Lose some stress from that. I did forget to mention that he was at 199 stress. Next level at 200. So that was maybe another reason why we're holding this feast. We won't go for the achievement for 3 levels of stress just yet. In the last episode, I also said that we could use that money that we made in raiding to build quite a lot of buildings, but we weren't going to, because we were going to use it for mercenaries. I think it does make sense, however, that Flann Sinna, in his paranoia, would build palisades in Desmond. So I'm going to spend 75. It'll take 3 years. And again, I think that's just his paranoia playing in. It makes sense that he'd do that. Another reason why Flann Sinna would be looking towards the conquest of the Isle of Mann is because the Isles are currently attacking to take control of Fife. And when that happens, the Isles, Ireland, Sweden, Mann, and this single county here held by Jorvik will be the only entities on Scotland, or in Scotland. So I think Flann Sinna wants to kind of take control of Mann for that reason, because we're seeing large powers, two of them are allied against us, large powers carving up Scotland. And also, the Isle of Man is a single county duchy, so once we take it, we can maybe go and raid some more places, and use that money to form the duchy, and it will give us more prestige. As you can see, our prestige is in a bit of trouble. We're down minus 2.9 because of it's not a huge army that we're maintaining, especially when you look at the armies that the Isles and Sweden have, but our unraised men-at-arms are causing a big prestige penalty to us at the moment, and one of the reasons that that we're gaining so little prestige, well, we don't have a lot of land. We have a single county and the High Kingship, and that's it. We have no ducal titles. So I think Flann Sinna might be, maybe he's trying to, maybe he feels jealous of the fact that he technically has the same amount of land as Astrid. There's the look of a man who enjoyed himself. With everyone headed for their respective homes, I am proud to say that the feast was a success. And he has his wife to thank for that. Minus 16, she was down at minus 58. When she discovered that we were sleeping with her stepsister. Down to minus 16 now. But until next time, so we gain 150 prestige, and every guest gains 20 opinion of us. After the last episode ended, I went and pinned a few interesting characters, and of course here is Dervagol and her husband, Kuken Volher, who we made her marry, so we captured her in a raid, released her on the condition that she converted to Insular, then married her to Kuken Volher, and she has inherited the county of Ross, as we expected that she would. Now hopefully they'll have a child. I didn't entirely think he's a bastard of, he's not a legitimate member of House Uí Néill. I didn't think about that. I was really proud about the fact that we were going to have a member of House Uí Néill on the throne. I didn't think about that. Again, it's not that I didn't think about it. No, it's that Flann Sinna was drunk when he made that decision. That's what happened. But there'll be a member of a House Uí Néill in power there, but not actually. It's not going to contribute to our renown, and it's not going to contribute to having X amount of Dynasty members alive at any one point in time. Ah well. I think he's too drunk to even explain that to. I think he's just too drunk to explain that to. So we have been informed that a troubadour will soon be performing for the court at Leeds. Anybody who knows anything about the English music scene, put in who you think it is, what band from Leeds is going to be playing, or what performer from Leeds is going to be playing. So we could try to impress Christina with either a bold declaration to the lady, 66% chance of success, or a veiled illusion to my desires. I think, as a spy master, that she would rather. Well, she's not a great spy master, but she would rather a veiled illusion. Also, I think we've caused enough trouble as is already. But then again, he is drunk. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's drunk. Something else I've been keeping an eye on is the health and well-being of High Chieftain Conal of Munster. I think he's the largest landowner in the... Oh, he's definitely the largest landowner. He has 4 counties under his name. He conquered Leinster from Cuchurca's brother. On his death, we're going to see Leinster and I think Thomond go to one of his sons. But we're going to see Connacht go to another, actually to one of his grandsons, Leinster and Thomond. Connacht will go to one of his sons, and what I will do is I will transfer that. Will I transfer it under Leachnaun? So I want to try and restructure everything and get everything back to some semblance of normality. So if we give Connacht to Breffni, we're just making, well, if we give Connacht to Connacht, we're just making Leachnaun more powerful. And of course, the Earldom of Ulster hasn't been created yet. So I'm already talking about creating the Earldom of the Isle of Man, while I won't spend money on creating the Earldom of Ulster. I think, is he at war with the Isle of Man? He is indeed, defending against some tyrannical war. Well, there you go. And they're not doing good. Our spy master, Felku, who we hired from Nooks and Cranny Incorporated. A couple of episodes back, we were getting freaked out by all the hiding spots in the castle. And we hired somebody to look into it, and he became our spy master. Well, apparently we have been swapping saucy stories while buried deep in our cups. I have just finished my retelling of a tale of the seductive charms of some exotic sea monsters when I see an untoward gleam in my companion's eye. So we have a couple of different options. One is to continue telling him more stories. There's a less than 50% chance that he will discover a new hobby and becomes a deviant. I don't want to know what kind of hobby that is. The other is that he will lose opinion of us. I think we'd want to go with this one to just become more friendly with him. We grow closer to forming a friendship. And as an intrigue character, I think... did we marry our ex-wife to him? We did, yes. As a high intrigue character married to our ex-wife, who our bishop forced us to divorce for some reason, I think we'd want to have a good opinion of him and be friends. Now, I'm seeing these guys wandering up here. Not too sure where they're going, but if they land somewhere, doesn't look like they are. Looks like they're going way up to. Looks like they're going way up to Scotland somewhere. I thought they might land and we might attack them. It looks like we were successful. Whatever Leeds-based band it was greatly impressed Christina, and she. Oh, I thought. Yeah, I forgot that we didn't go for the. We didn't go for the subtle option. We just had them basically scream out how much Flann Sinna wants Christina. That's what I imagine happened. So that has improved. I wonder who else heard the performance though. I'm not quite sure what, but something looks to have gone badly wrong in this war for the Isles. I could have sworn that Sweden was fighting with them. It doesn't look like it, however. Or maybe just a single Swedish county is, but yeah, it looks like they're getting hammered in their war to take Fife. Somebody is actually sieging it down at the moment. Ooh, that's a hefty army. So I think they're going to manage to successfully siege that back. So maybe I was a bit ahead of myself when I said that very shortly these guys were going to be driven out of Scotland, and that the Isles, Ireland, and Sweden would be the only major powers there. Possibly, no. I was going to say maybe we could think about taking it. No, not against a coalition like that. Cuchurca, why you do this to me? That's what I imagine poor Telorg is saying. He has just been killed in a practice duel. Cuchurca called for a physician at once, but Telorg had bled out within moments. And Telorg, of course, is a son of Éanbacán, one of our great military leaders, quite often leads some of our armies, and he is a younger brother. He is a full brother of Urgest and a half-brother of Dovdalehe. So his mother, Telorg's mother, would be Mora, Nick Greengraffador. So what's the relation? Are these cousins? No. Telorg would be Cuchurca nephew. And he has been killed while training. Again, he wasn't great, and he's one of the reasons why we actually had Cuchurca focus on training the army. But it's a tragic loss. because we don't have a huge amount of knights, even at that level. He's one of the lower down ones. And we don't have a lot of people who can replace him. Because if we look down here at the bottom of our knights, we have 9 out of 9 champions. And Scanlon is down at the bottom at the moment. He has recently become a knight. This would be Kukurka's younger brother, half-brother / stepson, because of course Kukurka Moore married his mother. But we're almost down into the likes of Fail Ku, who's an 8, and Conal, who's a 7, and our brother, who's a 7. So we're not doing great in terms of skill. It's going to be another 2 years, I think, before I can invite more champions. So that's another reason that I had Kukurka training these guys, and also hoping that he would invite knights to the court. Instead, he started killing them. So he killed one of the brothers, but he improved the martial score of another one by 1. There you go, that's not too bad. Fail Ku, who we were recently telling stories about sexy sea monsters to, has failed to find any secrets in our brother's court. Instead of fabricating a hook on Finton, whoever Finton is, I'm going to... so there's no need for that. Let's see who Finton is. Oh, the bishop. Well, a bishop. There's no reason for that. So what I'm going to do is, instead, I'm going to put Fail Ku assisting the attempt to fabricate a hook on High Chieftain Scanlon. I wasn't obsessing about Astrid. I was just passing by, and I heard that she has found herself a new fancy man, Sonny Dagson. He's 12, so they're betrothed at the moment. Her liege is now a babby. I'm not entirely too sure who this babby is. He's a grandson, I think, of the previous ruler. So this guy had the living daylights beaten out of him and died just a few weeks ago in June. This was the ruler of Jorvik. It's under assault from a lot of places at the moment. I wouldn't be amazed if, because of the strong family connections between, I think the Arca are ruling, I thought they were ruling Wessex, or I thought a member of the Arca. She was married to a member of House Arca, and I think it's all, or Acra, and it's all members of House Acra who will succeed her as Queen of Wessex. Well, Wessex will disintegrate into various different entities on the Queen's death, so this part of Jorvik might end up getting absorbed in there for a while. What I find, I don't understand, this poor woman, she's still in prison. So she's a member of Astrid's court, but Astrid's sister Asta has imprisoned her. She's been in prison for a long time. And there's Asta, still off fighting in the Crusades. Oh, boys. Oh, it's not going well for you guys. This is what you get for not letting the Irish in. You know, you could have an extra 3,000 soldiers, which would be of no help whatsoever to you. Also, look at the Pope since the 1.1.1.1.1 update. Look at the Pope, boys, oh boys. He's after getting himself a new robe, a big new cross full of jade. Same hat. He's decked himself out. Year 1 of Flann Sinna's 3-year drinking binge has came to an end. We've gotten the army back up to just short of 3,000 troops. The Isle of Man is no longer involved in a lot of wars. They're just in one, which they're doing A-OK in. So I think we're going to use this as an opportunity to declare war for the conquest of the county. No, I don't think we'll go for a conquer duchy. I know we need to be illustrious anyway, and we're not losing as much prestige, but we're still losing prestige. And possibly this war and one or two other things might actually help us to get above that threshold and get us into illustrious. So we are going to declare war. We will raise the army here in Scotland. And we'll march them. The Isle of Man is raising... Well, of course, a lot of its forces are fighting in Mann proper. And we got some... I think Brittany is actually joining in against us. Now, if we could actually hit those guys while they come across, that'd be fantastic. Even though they might head into Ulster, so we might have to do a bit of a run around after them. Or even split off the army and send some of them across after them. We'll see what they do when they get across into Galloway. Just in time for the battle, Cuchurca has increased one of our knights' prowess. And we have a member of the main branch. I'm not too sure if that's the same branch as Cuchurca's wife. I don't think it is. Cuchurca's wife, who is of course a guest in our court. Ignore. No, don't make it bigger. Ignore the words that she's just a guest. Just a guest in our court. She's just one of the rooms in her house got flooded, and she's she's just staying in our court for a while. We're going to invite the Count of Bar. If at first you don't succeed, third time's a charm, or something like that. We're going to invite the Count of Bar into the war because he's the closest of our allies. We do also have an ally in Middlesex, so they could cross across into the territories here, but hopefully the guys in Bar will maybe march across and hit the Welshman in Frenchman itself. So we'll call him in, and we'll hold off on calling in in Middlesex just yet. And of course it was down into assisting Middlesex to do something. I don't know, I wasn't really listening. Flann Sinna was drunk and angry and wanted to go and hurt some people, and we went down and helped them in the last episode. Fantastic. Mann is staying on mainland Scotland, so that's handy, as opposed to crossing into Ulster. Bar is going to join us. And now, man, Leeds. Leeds must be just... Leeds and Tralee are the two capitals of entertainment and reading in Europe. How many readings have been given in Leeds and Tralee? She has absolutely no skills whatsoever that would indicate what I should or shouldn't do. I'm just going to go with something informative. Apparently my choice was the wrong choice. Look at this for a sentence. While I was thinking of how to salvage the situation, Rapotto, the suffragan bishop of my lover Countess Astrid. That's something I thought I'd never read. So he suggests that we read riddle poems instead. And Christina seems delighted with that. I should have thought of that first. So we get awkward interactions. But we do like Rapotto for some reason. Not entirely too sure why. Like scared little boys. They're running away. They're not men. They're boys. They're running away from us. They're going to run out into the sea to get away. We'll probably have to split the army and send half of it across into Ireland to bait them up. Send the other half across to siege down the Isle of Man. It's been quite a while since we've had any legitimate children with any of our three wives because they've been so angry with us. Chiefess Malmfred, on the other hand, I don't know, is this baby number 2 or 3? So Sigrid is definitely our child, but is being passed off as Ofigs. So, because that baby, of course, got our quick trait, this baby did not win the trait lottery. Stuttering and scaly. Natural dread, not too shabby, but we will have to ask her ourselves. Hopefully nobody overhears. I don't think we're going to be able to swing them around in time. Nope, doesn't look like it. I've split up the armies. I'm sending one into the Isle of Man. I'm sending the other across into Ireland. I'm not entirely too sure where they're taking their 760 troops, however. They might take them down to hit somewhere in Southern Ireland, or meet up with a much larger force that now seems to be landing in Wales. So we're going to reunify our army, obviously, and maybe look at bringing in the Middlesex now. Middlesex has answered the call just as the Isle of Man and its allies, or indeed the entire Manx army, heads back out to sea. I'm not too sure where they're going. Are they going to... They're going back in the direction they just came from. So we're bringing our forces back and around. It's possible that they're going to come up and actually hit Mann itself. I don't know if we can get our people across in time. We might actually have to pull back. If they get in there, there's a good chance that they'll be able to land faster. Here is our daughter Orla, who we are raising as a spy master. And I think it's only fitting that we leave her with the ambitious trait. She saw a wounded doe, but she did not hesitate in the slightest to bring it down. Greatness awaits you, Orla. Okay, so the Manx have finally decided what they're doing with themselves. They are going for Dublin. That only took all day. So, my Chancellor, Uncle Urquaid, I'm trying to think of this relationship. Uncle Urquaid has gone to see Cuchurca, who's also his nephew, and has helped him to truly see the splendour of the realm under my rule. And he's now up to plus 99%. Well, that's exactly why your wife is in my court, Cuchurca. She's also seeing the splendour of the realm under my rule. Yeah. Now then, let's see if we can get the army across and down to attack the Manx forces in Dublin. They're equally matched. But if we can hit them, it would be, I would imagine, a substantial defeat for them. Or us. So we have a chance to fabricate a hook on Scanlon, basically by coercing him and punching him in the face lots and lots of times with a letter that starts "My dearest victim." I think we're going to gain building influence and start again at 0. So I do want to see if we can get strong hooks instead of weak hooks. I did mention a while ago that we haven't actually had any legitimate children with any of our wives in a while. One of our wives has just become pregnant. A member of the House of Velth. We had relations into that family. I can't accurately remember how at the moment. That's Anjou. And Anjou, of course, was the Duke of Anjou also controlled Ulm, if I'm correct. So we took somebody's mother prisoner and tortured them. We can see our allies in Middlesex are kind of wandering around the place. They're heading up in some direction. And we're going to march the army into Dublin. They have higher quality forces. We have a better army commander, and we are going to have a great battle in Dublin against the Manx, who are running away. I presume they're going for the mountains, which is a good idea. I don't know if we're going to catch them. No, we're not. And in the midst of our decision as to what exactly we are going to do, we have a chance to seduce Christina. However, I must remember that Christina's liege, Countess Astrid, is always watching. I think maybe that's what Flann Sinna's motivation here might be. Christina will be mine. I go ahead with my attempt. We'll see how that plays out. As the shadows lengthen, I find Christina in the darkness beneath the castle wall waiting for me. So what will we do? The last time we got this exact same message, we did the after taking the castle, I withdraw. Are we going to gain positive opinion with her? We gain plus 20. So yeah, I think we'll gain the plus 20. It'll give us somebody else on our side in Astrid's court. And we end that seduction attempt. If we go in against the Manx forces, we're attacking into a mountain. They're defending in the hills. They have higher quality forces and more men-at-arms counter. We have a better army commander. However, we also have the fact that the opponent is running low on supply. And if we check, they're undersupplied. -5 a month isn't all that much, but what we might actually do is just effectively siege them. If I can figure out how to do it, we might actually just stop here for a short while and wait maybe a couple of months for some forces to deplete, or see exactly what this this supply damage does to them. And we might even see some more of our allies coming in. So we're seeing allies landing. They are attempting to run. And maybe if we can attack them, our allies will come in. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The Manx have made the choice to stand and fight. I was told ever too late there that we didn't have a commander in our army, so it looks like we've gone in without a commander, which isn't great. Our allies aren't coming in to help us either, strictly speaking. Our allies are... Yeah, I was told that the AI had improved in the last patch. And you can see there on the left, on the right-hand side, that our Queen Enid has become a physician, or a novice physician. I appointed her as my physician in the last game. I'm trying to figure out where the guy who was... It looks like he died. Probably of old age. Well, that's orcs. Will Flann Sinna take control? Do you know what he will? I think he's drunk enough to want to take control. The Duchess of the Isles, the High Chiefess of the Isles, is now being described as our acquaintance. I presume because we're sleeping with one of her vassals. So they've actually lost that battle for Fife. So it still remains free. And we're seeing Middlesex, I think, coming out into the ocean, and they're going to begin a siege down of Mann. I think we don't have much of a choice. It's 23 gold to come out into the ocean. Oh, it's 29. And yeah, I think we'll come out and see if we can siege down Mann as well, or to assist in the siege of Mann. Or would it be better? We're going out into the ocean one way or another. Would it be better to bring the forces down and actually start attacking Frenchmen, and maybe even these guys here to deal some further blows? So we'll see about that in a few seconds. Some absolutely staggering performances there by our Knights. Coning up at 44, Cuchurca Moore 31, Dovdal Leha at 29. Cuchurca absolutely loves us. I imagine his wife has been sending him back letters of how enjoyable a time she's having in our court. So he's at 100% opinion of us. And this must be a terrible defeat for the Welshman, because Princess Bedo, his wife, was slain by Coning. So Coning killed in battle the wife of the Welshman that controls Frenchmen. So that's a hefty defeat to him. Is that his son and heir by any chance? I think it is. I think it's his main, or it's not his main heir. His daughter is his primary heir, but his son is going to inherit 2 earldoms. That's a unique battle. And even with the loss of his wife, the Prince Welshman, a Frenchman, believes that we would be prepared to accept a white peace. How wrong he is. We will decline, because there will not be a 4th Irish conquest of the earldom of the Isle of Man. We took a prisoner in that battle, and we can ransom him to himself for 30 quid, which we will do, which would actually pay off the cost of coming out into the ocean, or coming out into the sea. I think what we'll do is we'll bring our forces up to here, and we'll see what's going to happen. So we're actually going to park them here, and see what's happening, because yeah, so we'll actually have to land them. They've gone in against a tiny force there on the island itself. Maybe we can get in time to aid them. We can, just about. The High Chieftain Scanlon has been maimed. Our champion Strula had his head ripped off. He had just had his stats improved by Cucarcamur before the battle began. So although it was a great victory, another crushing defeat to the Manx, I think we've lost some important knights there. So a victory at Holmwick. Coning again did fantastic work, leading our list of knights. Dovdal Leha is up there as well. I thought we got a notice that he had his head ripped off. He doesn't seem too bad for somebody who had their head ripped off. Maybe he didn't die. But there you go. Strula has become a berserker. I think maybe that's what confused me. It was actually this guy. Strula ripped this guy's head off. Had his head ripped off by Strula. I'm so unused to seeing that I just automatically assumed that it was one of our knights that was killed. So nobody came off the worst there. High Chieftain Scanlon got himself a wound. He's down to 5 prowess, so I have to make sure that he's not involved in the next battle. But Strula, it looks like, has become a berserker at some point in time. So I might have mentioned a couple of episodes back that I was not going to force him to convert, because I was happy enough to leave him with a +1 for having a holy site. We could now make him convert and have an insular Christian berserker. I wonder would he stay as a berserker if we forced him to convert, because we'd be knocking him down to a 17, which wouldn't be all that much of a loss. I'm going to think about doing that. So what I initially thought was maybe a good but costly victory for us has just turned into a good and costly defeat. Well, a good and costly victory. For basically, we kicked the crap out of this guy and ripped off one of his people's heads. And somebody died from their wounds as well. I'd say now, you won't be coming back to me with any white pieces anymore. And of course, also in the battle, we became illustrious. So Flann Sinna is well known, quite often for all the wrong reasons. I've just been going down through some of my court. Here is poor Alicia, who was married to Talurg. And I imagine that, just like that time Boris Yeltsin visited Ireland in the early 1990s, but he couldn't come off the plane because he was too drunk, I imagine that Flann Sinna is going to pay an alcohol-laden visit to Alicia to offer his condolences on behalf of the Kingdom of Ireland at the death of her husband, and he will, I imagine, offer his condolences in the only way that he knows possible. the other reason I was looking through the list of courtiers was this person popped up at the end of the last episode. The wife of Briog, our great marshal, one of the greatest marshals ever to serve the Kingdom of Ireland. He was, of course, a peasant leader, and we forced him to join us and become a knight and fight for us. She was a member of the Onuk the Rahland, who have come to power in Wales somehow. I'm not entirely too sure who, so they would have been a Munster dynasty at the start of this game. But she has outlived her brothers, and she has outlived her husband, and she has outlived her daughter, High Chiefess Muriel, who was the first person that Flann Sinna seduced after he became rather interested in and thankful to her father, Briog, for all of his service. So, what I'm going to do is, because she has, what has she? She has frozen grief, having never processed the death of a loved one. This character finds it harder to connect with others, so to give her some peace and comfort in her final years, we will ask her to take vows. And I don't know what exactly this does, but we'll see. It's the first person that we've actually managed successfully to ask to take vows. And so she has agreed. She has become a female monk, a nun. So her piety goes up 3, same fate opinion goes up 5, can't inherit titles, and may not marry, and Lawn has dedicated her life to the service of a higher power. I am sure you will serve God well. I was just going to say we're into September of 950, which means that we have gone through 2 years of Flann Sinna's drinking binge. So he's both at the peak, but from here it's all downhill. Surely somebody's knocking on the door, trying to push in the door through all the empty cans of Dutch gold and tell him that his wife has given birth to a daughter named Bevan. May you grow to be strong and wise, my daughter. Another daughter. How many daughters does he have now? So he's 2 sons, and then 6 daughters. He has at least 2 illegitimate sons, and at least 2 daughters. I can't even count anymore. I don't know. The Manx forces may have been returning to hit us. Instead, they've hit Liachnon's army. His Connacht army, which is retreating. They have 1,500 troops. We now have allies of 4,400 on the Isle of Man. The crack must be 90 there. And I don't know what they're going to do. Probably just hang around in there. Or maybe they're going to... Yeah, they're going to try and siege down Galloway. That's not a good idea, because we're not too far away from you. So we continue our attempts to fabricate a hook against our cousin. I have no idea what the relationship is here. Chieftain Scanlon, our disciple who we trained. He is the Darth Vader to our Palpatine. I was gonna say, the graphics have messed up. They forgot to put in his arm, and then I remembered, wait a minute, he was wounded, wasn't he? Ooh, so I don't think it's that they forgot to put in his arm. I think it's that we didn't manage to find it on the battlefield. So I think that's him finished as a knight. We could either stand up to this injustice and get a weak hook on him, or think more carefully. I do want that strong hook. We've had one-handed knights before serving us, but now poor old Scanlon is down at the very bottom. And Conall, the High Chieftain of Munster, has been dragged in, and Fail Coo have been dragged in as knights. I think Fail Coo to replace High Chieftain Scanlon, and Conall, because we're now up to 10 out of 10 champions instead of 9 out of 9 for becoming illustrious. So we just finished the siege of the Isle of Man. We've taken one of his daughters prisoner. And already some of our forces have started to cross across, and we're going to follow after them. Flann Sinna leading the way. It looks like they're going to stay. Nope, they're running away, which is a good idea, because there's 4,500 forces coming after them. It's possible that our allies... No, I thought our allies might catch them and keep them there. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. It's a little cat and mouse game. We're up to 87%, so actually a couple of belts to their army might see us bring them down, or might see us get 100% war score. Is what I meant to say. And they're going to sit and they're going to try and defend in Sweden, in Swedish Scotland, and we get a lifestyle perk. Look at that face there in the left-hand corner. To me, that is the face of a man who says, my lust can be shackled no longer. I don't think this is going to give us any immediate benefits, but it is going to help us to get down here and get the seducer trait. Like I said, we're thinking about swapping back and forth between these two trees, so if I do have to come back here next, I think it might be the hostile scheme success chance. So the main body of the army has gone in against them. Cuchurcha Moore has maimed the Welsh man himself, taken out his eye. This is a battle that he will never forget. One of our enemies has left the war. I think they see the writing is on the wall. And we have 100% war score. There he is. We killed one of his wives. Another one of his wives has been taken prisoner. And we took his eye. Oh man. Let's very quickly see how the details of that battle. So Coney again topped the charts. His lead knight was slain in battle. And the two new guys, our two new guys, they didn't do anything, but they managed to keep themselves alive at the very least. A famous victory. Over the Isle of Man, we can enforce our demands. To the brooding High King Flann Sinna, may wisdom ever elude you. You are a much greater foe than I imagined. I think that is very true. That is very true. In order to put an end to this bloodshed, I will comply with your demands. So be it. The Isle of Man has been a thorn in our side for a considerable period of time, and it has finally fallen to the Irish. We have, by and large, control of the Irish Sea, and secure enough links between Ulster and Galloway. Like I said, I don't see Flann Sinna planning on re-establishing the Kingdom of Scotland or anything like that, but he does need land for himself to increase his prestige. Land and titles to bestow upon what few legitimate children he has, and also to bring in money, and he would argue to help to protect him. I don't know if we're going to go for any more immediate conquests, but that's a major victory for us. We could now create, I'm sure they will tell us that we can create titles. You can usurp the Principality of Mann. To do so would cost us 250 quid. We can afford that, but at the moment I don't think that if we were to do that we wouldn't be able to afford mercenaries. So I think you know what's going to happen on the next episode. We're going to do a bit of a whip around to see who wants to contribute money to Flann Sinna's desire to get a new title for himself. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.